Namaskar, Shubho Aparanno. A very good afternoon to all of you. On behalf of the organizing committee, I am Mintu Haldar, one of the conveners of this webinar. Cordially invite you all in the webinar on connecting the innovation and dissemination of the results on health issues to the common people, ways and challenges. Webinar is organized jointly by the Infolib Academia in collaboration with Bhoirav Ganguly College. We all know currently the whole world is infected with the coronavirus. Various health organizations are constantly promoting the disease to the general public. Print media and electronic media have taken an important steps in this regard. Yet in many cases, we notice that people are very indifferent to this deadly virus. We know that while research is being conducted around the world on the COVID virus, the output of this research is hardly reaching the general public. Ordinary people are very confused about this issue. The role of the state is very important in this case. We hope that the various information centers and library institutions will take a right steps in this regard. Today's topic is very pertinent in present situation. Our honorable speakers enlighten us with their thoughts. In this program, the name of the resource persons are Dr. Biplab Chakraborty, Professor, Department of Library Information Science, University of Calcutta; Dr. Shobuj Kumar Choudhury, Associate Professor, Department of Library Information Science, University of Calcutta; Dr. Pubalika Bhattacharya Moitro, Assistant Professor, Department of Library Information Science, University of Calcutta; Dr. Swati Ghosh, Librarian, Savitri Girls College; and Dr. Sudeep Banerjee, Librarian, City College of Commerce and Business Administration. Participants are requested all the a question answer session will be there after the deliberation of all the speakers. All the participants are requested to write your question in YouTube chat box. We inform the participant that the feedback link will be provided in the YouTube chat box. You can download the certificate from BGC MOOCs. This program encouraged by our Honorable Vice Principal Dr. Sanjit Kumar Das, who is Chief Patron in this webinar also. I request to our Vice Principal to deliver his welcome address. Over to sir.
Thanks, Mintu. Good afternoon and welcome to this webinar on connecting the innovation and dissemination of the results on the health issue to the common people, ways and challenges. To be honest, a very relevant topic as per the situation demands. We definitely require some of the information which is relevant in this connection. I express my sincere gratitude to the webinar director, Dr. Biplab Chakraborty, Professor, Department of Library and Information Science, University of Calcutta, and the keynote speaker, Dr. Shobuj Kumar Choudhury, Associate Professor, Department of Library and Information Science, University of Calcutta, who will deliver their experts' opinion in this topic. And I also express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Sudeep Banerjee, Librarian, City College of Commerce and Business Administration; Dr. Pubalika Bhattacharya Moitro, Assistant Professor, Department of Library and Information Science, University of Calcutta; and Dr. Swati Ghosh, Librarian, Savitri Girls College, who are the experts and who are the speakers, honorable speakers in today's program, and they will deliver their lectures on from the different perspectives, and also will enlighten us in these deadly issues, which is almost shaking the entire world. And I also express my sincere thanks to the webinar director, webinar conveners, Shri Mintu Haldar and Dr. Abul Salam, for their dedicated efforts. Hope you will enjoy the session, and without wasting any time, I request Shri Mintu Haldar to continue, please. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Now I request Dr. Abul Salam, one of the convener in this webinar, to introduce the speaker. Over to Dr. Salam. Salam, unmute.
Unmute.
Thank you very much, Mr. Halla, for your kind introduction and hand over to me. Good afternoon to everybody and welcome to this webinar. We are now in our series of webinars. This is the 8th webinar, I think, happening with different collaborative platform, and this is with Bhairav Ganguly College. I am really very much thankful to the Vice Principals of Bhairav Ganguly College, Dr. Sanjit Kumar Das, sir, for his nice acceptance with the collaboration of Infolib Academia to organize this seminar. The topics of this seminar is connecting the innovation and dissemination of the results on health issues to the common people, ways and challenges. Really, this is a very burning topics for the day, and we all know that what are the situation, particularly during this COVID-19 period. We have started our COVID journey from Wuhan in China. So, what are the situations and health hazards very much related to the particularly common pupils, how they are overcoming the problem. All things will be highlighted on that particular topics. We have a lot of enriched and knowledgeable speakers today, particularly in the keynote speakers. We have Dr. Subhuj Kumar Choudhury, who is the Associate Professor of Department of Library and Information Science, University Calcutta. After that, we have Assistant Professor Dr. Kumalika Bhattacharya Mohito. He will also enlighten us on the topics related with this, some government issues and other materials on that particular topics. So I would also like to hear from the speakers what would be the guidelines and what would be the matters provided by the WHO and other bodies who are very much related in this and fighting and doing research and development also on that particular issues. So, and after that, Dr. Sudeep Banerjee is here with us. He is the librarian and bursar of City College of Commerce and Business Administration, Kolkata. Then we have Dr. Swati Ghosh. He is the librarian of Savitri Devi Girls College. She is also will enlighten us from her very resourceful speech with a lot of information. So all we are eagerly waiting for their knowledgeable speech to update ourselves. And lastly, not least, I should speak fast. Our beloved teachers, Dr. Biplab Chakraborty sir, who is the mastermind of this project, I can say, to conduct this series of webinars on different types of thoughts and themes. So really, you will be highlighted. We will be introducing a lot of more topics also in very short periods of time in September. So please wait for the same, and all are happening from our mastermind, Dr. Chakraborty sir. So I would like to hand over my microphone to our sir, Dr. Chakraborty, who is the director of this webinar and chairman of Infolib Academia. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Abul Salam. Good afternoon, and good afternoon to all. Respected Vice Principal of Bhairav Ganguly College, Dr. Sanjit Kumar Das, and he is also the patron of this webinar. Dr. Subhuj Kumar Choudhury, the keynote speaker of this webinar, and he is the professor of the Department of Library Science of University of Calcutta. Dr. Kumalika Bhattacharya of the Department of Library Information Science of the University of Calcutta, and Dr. Swati Ghosh, the librarian of Savitri Girls College, and Dr. Sudeep Banerjee, the librarian of City College of Commerce and Business Administration, Dr. Sheikh Abul Salam, librarian of the Shipur Dinubundi Institution and one of the conveners of this webinar, Sri Mintu Haldar, librarian and bursar of the Bhairav Ganguly College, and another convener of this webinar, teacher colleagues of the Bhairav Ganguly College, executive members of the Infolib Academia, and other participants, dear participants. At the outset, I convey my gratitude to the organizers for organizing this type of webinar, and I am happy. I am very happy to be present here to share the experiences of the issues raised in the in this webinar from among the speakers and the participants, and I think that I will be beneficial. And I think that this topic, that means that today's topic is something different from other webinars topics from the perspective of the library information science domain, because this is a really practical scenario based webinar where discussion can be made for the benefit of the common masses, how the connections can be made relating to the innovations of the health results of the health issues, and the service providers, how they from among the service providers, how they will be benefited. So really this topic is on the connecting the innovations of the results on health issues and the dissemination of the to the common people, ways and challenges. So there are the different ways through which the people can be provided services, and I think the speakers will give light us about the issue, and I think that there are a number of obstacles. So that how that obstacles can be overcome, that issues will be discussed in the speech. So I think that the speakers are waiting for their speech. We are also ready to hear on their lecture. So I don't waste the time. My young friend, colleague of the University of Calcutta's Library Science Department, Dr. Shobut Choudhury, is the keynote speaker. I do request Professor Shobut Choudhury to deliver his lecture. Please, Shobut, please.
Thank you, Professor Chakraborty, for your generous introductions, and thank you, conveners Mintu and Dr. Salam Abul Salam. And I want to congratulate the whole college and the Library Info Academia for picking up a very pertinent and relevant issues. And I also congratulate other speakers, my colleague, Professor Pubalika Bhattacharya, Shudi and Shati, for joining me in these very relevant discussions. And the discussions on the topic is very close to my heart. So without much ado, let's start. Is it visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Visible.
Okay. So I have chosen this topic, medical innovations, regulations, and accessibility. And before going to the discussions, I want to say a little bit on this creativity. What is the creativity? What is the creations? Creations and creativity is nothing but the putting idea into actions. Whatever I think in my mind, I must put into some manifestative form. It has to have some manifestation, and then it is known as a creations. And every creation and every creativity has two aspects, very interesting. One is a subjective aspect, another one is an objective aspect. And this subjective aspect, most of the cases, is propelled and triggered by inventor's own emotional impulse, that I want to invent something, I want to solve some problem. And the objective, the name it clearly suggests, it is driven, it is propelled by some objective. Here is primarily the market interest and the market demand. So that's two types of aspects that is actually trigger the creativity. Through my presentations and through my deliberations, I would like to present one thing, very crucial thing. Sometimes we, the common people, may not understand, and why these prices of medicines are getting too high, why these prices of patent, at least for our developing nations like India, cannot actually bearable, is becoming too unaffordable for us. What is the reason? What is the secret behind it? at what exactly beneath under it. So let's try to find it out. It's a very interesting short story that is written 1850 by Charles Dickens, A Poor Man's Tale of a Patent. And in this story, he satirically depicted rather, some John, a poor man, an old poor John. He tried to get a patent over his inventions, and he had to pass through 35 critical stages. Just imagine, to get a patent, even in the 1850, he had to cross 35 stages. It's very difficult and too much cost for getting that patent. And it was that short story was so interesting and so exciting, and it actually shook the whole world, even the British Parliament, and the British Parliament had changed and amended the British Patent Act in 1852. What is the reasons why I'm telling about this story? Because this story, actually, if you go to the story is freely available on the internet. You will find that this story tells you how critical to get a patent still now, and how it becomes too costly. And because of this cost expenses, and these multinational companies or the inventors, they are trying to get or reap benefit out of that product or out of their inventions, or rather innovations. So firstly, I will tell you 7 tales of a patent, and it was given by very well-known scholars in these fields of intellectual property rights, Graham Dudfield. I will discuss 7 innovations. These 7 innovations is not the topmost medical innovations, but it is very much important, or very much is of importance from that point of view: commercializations and the patent and its societal impact. So let's start with the first one. It's a color mauve. It was Henry Perkin. He started to invent quinine for the industrial waste product, but he invented this color mauve. Immediately, he actually discarded his idea. He dropped his idea of development of this quinine from the coal tar. Rather, he patented this color mauve and went for this commercialization in the dye industry. So it was a very important and significant development in this field, because it is the first synthetic dye which was accidentally produced. Second one was a first commercially successful medicinal patent, 1899, developed by some inventor, aspirin. This is also very important. Still now it is used, and it is not only used for the headaches. We all know it very well. It is the first successful medicinal patent. And the warfarin is a blood thinner in 1969. It was invented by some scientist. Basically, this is the beginning of the patent. I will tell you a story, because patent right now actually shifted from the inventor. Inventorship shifted from this individual inventor to a collective inventors. I mean, individualizations to corporatizations. How corporate people actually captured the whole innovation psychology or inventing systems. And this is the first most important, because this warfarin, WARF, is actually Wisconsin's Alumni Research Foundations. It is the first corporatizations, because Wisconsin's University Alumni Association is a corporate body who has invented this one, and they have patented it. Streptomycin, you know it very well, it's a very important medicine. Of course, after penicillin, this is the most important, because it was commercially important than the penicillin. In the cimetidine, we may not know the chemical formula, we may not know the chemical name, but if I show you these names, possibly we'll find many of them are the domestic names. One is a Tagamet. Tagamet is a cimetidine, is a anti-ulcerant medicines. Zantac and Losec. Basically, it's a omeprazole, and Zantac is a ranitidine medicine. And this is a blockbuster drug. The concept of blockbuster drugs stemmed up when a drug company got its patent return, $1 billion in a year. You just think this is astronomical amount. $1 billion in a month. It is known as a blockbuster drug. So this is 3 drugs, 1970s, which are very important and still continuing, and most of the market share actually they have captured. This is the Onco mouse. It's a quite interesting and exciting patent, the first animal patent, and it is also patented by Harvard. I mean, the corporatizations is a corporate body. And the polymerase chain reactions, PCR testing. This Mullis, Cali Mullis, he developed this PCR testing, and he developed this PCR testing in 1990. Right now, you know, you can. It has become suddenly. It has become so important, this PCR testing, and now the RT-PCR means reverse transcription polymerase chain reactions, and this test is the primary test for COVID-19 test. It normally identifies the antigen in your body instead of your antibody or your responding systems or immune systems of your body. So this is the primarily the COVID-19 test. You see, this is also a very significant test because, you know, this Moody's got Nobel Prize after its inventions, and he sold the patent in the $300 million. $300 million. You just think about this unimaginable number. It was so commercially connected, and the interrelationships between the science, patent, and the business is so vicious. As I told you, through an experimentations, there is a very interesting study in March 2000, and she showed the examples in 1885 to 1998. In 1885, only 12% patent to corporations. You just think it. And in 1999, just more than 100 years, it has become only 12.5% to independent inventor. The situation is simply toppled. Simple situation is completely opposite what was in the 100 years back. So when there is a some inventor doing some development or inventions in his or her workshop, or a workshop tinkerer, to corporatizations, when the corporate people grabbed and captured this innovation psychology or a total invention systems, and certainly their objective will be something different. And obviously, it's driven by money. As I told you, business, patent, science, a co-evolutionary relationship has been developed over the years. In the year 1971, though he is not the proponent of this regulatory capture, but he popularized this concept, regulatory capture. Regulatory capture is nothing. It actually talked about two kind of people. When an invention has manifested to patent, and then patenting systems, and the capturing the market, and obviously influencing the state actors, bureaucrats, and the politicians. If you capture these multinational corporations, say for the Pfizer, say for the, because you know, this time, all over the world, which industry is the most important in terms of money or turnover? Turnover is a health related, primarily the human health related business. Pfizer, AstraZeneca, who is developing these COVID-19 vaccines in Oxford University General Institute, and then GlaxoSmithKline, Novartis, Bayer. These multinational companies are investing billions and billions of dollars to capture the market, and for capturing means is to capture the state actors. If you capture the state actors, you can capture the whole market, and they will develop, enact, and create laws in favor of you so that you can capture the market. So that is the basic concepts of this Stigler concept of 1971. And what are the means of this capturing? Monetary subsidy. Government is giving subsidy to the multinational companies. Control market entry. They will not allow. Government will make such a kind of regulations, a kind of mechanism, so other persons, other competitive players cannot enter into the market. And restrict substitute products. No generics can come into the market. And they're fixing the prices. So these way they're trying to capture the market, regulatory capture. And without common man's understanding, silently, these state actors is influencing and helping these multinational companies to capture the markets. You see, different scholars are there. Drahos, Dutfield, Braithwaite, Sale. They primarily talked about this national patenting systems reflect primarily the interests of the big influential interest groups. Stronger and a very complex patenting rules just because they have made in favor of them, in favor of the multinational corporations. It greatly affects the consumers, normal consumers, and it is becoming too unaffordable for us, at least for a developing nations like India. And another most important thing is evergreening. Suppose a patent is given, patent is a right that is given to the inventor for a limited period of time. Right now it's 20 years all over the world after this WTO and TRIPS, including India. And after 20 years, and in exchange of that, inventor has to disclose his invention. So there are two aspects. One is the protection, and the second one is the disclosure. After 20 years, to capture the market, they want to capture it more for more time. So they want to increase expansion of the time. They go for a crafty innovations. And the crafty innovations is called evergreen. It's a cosmetic development of the existing innovations. But that's a evergreening. They try to increase the expansions of the durations more than 20 years of time. And that is also created by, and that is also favored and influenced by the state actors. And how it happens and how it affects the total, informations milieu. And they always speak about the camouflage cost and benefit ratio, and leads to the information asymmetry because they do not give you the proper information to the consumer. And then information asymmetry is there. And finally, what happens? It happens that it creates a information monopoly. From our perspective, ultimately patent is our information, it's the technological information. That knowledge is scarce. Once knowledge is scarce, and certainly our research and development with the poor nations, if the knowledge is not available, data is not available, information is not available with us, I mean, it's a critical information regarding the drug or molecule development, and certainly will be really in a very fixing conditions, will not be able to move further. We cannot develop any medicines or drug molecules. So knowledge is cased in the hands or in the cage of these multinational corporations. And I have shown in my paper is a Heller concept, the tragedy of the anti-commons. Suppose, say for a development of the ranitidine, if there are too many patents, so you cannot develop your own ranitidine, I'm saying generic ranitidine from Indian product, because too many, there is a concept of Heller concept. If there are too many ownerships of a single research, certainly it makes a tragedy of the anti-commons. For the development of this ranitidine, you have to take permissions from, say, for 10 actors, 10 persons who are having patents over the ranitidine. Certainly, it will be a very chaotic system. Obviously, we went for this reverse engineering, and certainly we cannot develop this R&D, our own R&D. So that are the basic impediments. I will tell you the basic, and through my personal experience and my case study, which has been published in an international journal very recently. This is a sandostatin LAR, is a real medicine for stomach cancer. And this medicine developed by Novartis, chemical formula is octreotide acetate, and its cost, 0.2 mg vial costs 65,000 Indian money. And that patent is actually expired in 2017. Most important thing I want to mention, our very famous Sun Pharmaceuticals from South India, they have developed the same medicines only in the price of 250 rupees, sandostatin LAR. But our state actors, our government, and all influencing bodies, they have stopped coming into the market. This is one of the most important examples. Sandostatin LAR. This is another medicine, Novartis, Glevex. It is normally given for the kind of leukemia, is a blood cancer. Earlier, per capsule costing was 5,000 rupees, and 30 capsule cost 1,50,000 per month. Now it has become 8,000 because there was the early old medicines. I told about the evergreening. Evergreening means is already available medicine. They are trying to develop some cosmetic development over the existing medicine when the patent expires. The same thing did by the Novartis. Medicine was there, imatinib. that was available in the market. After expiry of the patent, they developed some cosmetic changes and applied once again in Indian Patent Office. Indian Patent Office refused, as well as Indian Supreme Court has also refused to give, because, and it said in its verdict, it did not demonstrate enhanced efficacy, that Gleevec was not patentable. That means it actually did not develop anything new. It was a cosmetic. The top 10 blockbuster drugs by 2025, what kind of diseases they are covering? 40% for the cancer oncology, 16% for the neurological diseases, 12% for the metabolism, and then 8% for anti-infectives and 25% others. So these are going to be the blockbuster drugs in the coming 2025, within the 2025 or beyond. In India, what situation prevails right now? Patent killed patient. Because we cannot afford. Our purchase power parity is very poor. We cannot afford. I have already told you the price of a medicine, because I can tell you one ICMR data. First, second, and third candidate for our stomach cancer. One is a stomach cancer, and second was a breast cancer. Third one is a cervical cancer. I have dropped few slides, but just I'm telling you 2-3 words on this, because very recently, in the last 5 or 10 years, 5 to 7 years possibly, or maybe 10 years, we have introduced IPIL. That's a levonorgestrel IPIL. It's a very important disease, and through my study, I found that after inception of these medicines in Indian society, the breast and cervical cancer and PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome, in the female have been increased manifold. Still, there is no direct connection have been established, but the scientists are thinking in that line. There must have some reasons, because there are some charts I found that even in the last 5 or 10 years, the market sales of these morning pills, as it is known, or IPIL or a postinor levonorgestrel composition, has increased more than 25%. It's greater than US and China, and that has also increased, because not only the price, one side there is a price, another side is a value systems. It is also helping us, because the costing of government or expenditure of government on medical aspects, it is also being increased. If the citizens are getting too ill for this cancer, because the cancer cases is the highest in the world in India, 0.7 million per year. I'm telling the data up to 3 years old data. So certainly, in one side, the medicines is becoming too unaffordable, unbearable for the common man. At the same time, government is spending too much money over it. If government is spending too much money, certainly it will be impacted on your tax structures. So that's a very difficult and a vicious nexus among this regulatory capture. What I discussed, it's a Stigler concept. You see, you can easily find out these are the common medicines. Is the Gleevec medicines, 1.2 lakh per month, as I told you. Right now, it's 8,000 generic medicines prices right now. Our local medicine company, they can produce it. In Pfizer, it's a kidney, G cancer medicines. There is a huge cost involved for the patented drugs. And government is doing, government is pushing all these patented drugs in the society or in our OTC over the counter, as we call it, so technically. But the local cost of the generic people, the generic medicines companies, the Sun Pharmaceuticals and the famous companies, Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, Lupin Laboratories, all can produce these generic medicines at a very affordable price. But government is not allowing them. As I told you, the reasons is very clear. So what are the choices before us? Few choices I have decided and I have discussed in my paper recently published. The advocacy for the policy reform in TRIPS, no product patents. TRIPS, whatever we are influenced from or whatever we are complied by, we have to comply because we have signed. It is actually made by the 12 mega corporations, not by, there was no participations from the developing nations in decisions making. whatever is available, whatever is contextual and relevant for the developed nations might not be and cannot be relevant for our developing nations, poor developing nations like India. And we can also think of the alternative path. Why we are always thinking about the patent should be rewarded, invention should be rewarded through patents. We can also think of some reward systems, award systems. If somebody has developed something new, you can go for rewards. It can be cash prize. It can also be a prize for project sponsors of his dream project. He wanted to develop something new, and then that is also a new concept developed by Stiglitz in 2006. And we can also think about open source drug discovery. CSIR has already started its open source drug discovery. They have developed some medicines in malaria. And the most least, but not the least thing, and last things I must mention is that in innovations ecosystems, in the Global Innovations Index published in 2019 by WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organizations, and Cornell University together, they put India's positions in 52. Yes, we are improving. No doubt we are improving. But the countries, very small nations, even Singapore, Denmark, they are also within the 100 ranking. What is the sharp difference between them and us is they are spending more or less 3.4 to 3.6% of their GDP on the research and development. And what we are spending on research and development, though we are claiming many things in the newspaper, many things in the news channel, but truly speaking, they are spending only 0.6% of GDP on research and development. It is very pure. If you want to come to the innovation fields, the innovations milieu of the whole world, if you want to do something, it's a positive for our common man, member of the citizenry, we must invest money on the research and development so that we cannot and we should not and we do not develop on the, depend on this multinational corporations. These multinational corporations is actually spoiling our innovations ecology, and they're also influencing our state action. So these are the few alternatives that we can think of. I know these discussions and the debate cannot be stopped because this debate is as a multi-dimensional and multi perspectives. So it will go on, but still we can think about these kinds of provisions that we can have some alternative path in the days to come. So thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Sobuj. I am a very novice person in this field, but your lecture has given me immense pleasure because I have been very much informed. I think all the participants present here in this webinar, they will be very much beneficial and informative through this informative lecture, and they will be informed. I think a number of issues raised by Dr. Sobuj Choudhury, because he started with his discussion of the creativity of the persons, and started with a good story of Charles Dickens, A Poor Man's Tale of a Patent. So and later on it developed a chronologically the inventions of the people's creations and from individualization to corporatization stage. I think so individual to corporatization of inventorship, he has nicely managed to discuss within a short span of time, and a number of examples he has given. But I am as I am novice on that issue, so I can't discuss on that area. But I have understood that this is really a good discussion presented by him, because he finally told that he actions for regulations and the tragedy of anti-commons. I have heard from his lecture. So there is a difference between the patent and the patients, and that in patent kills patients. From his discussion, I have understood that is very, very good. Whatever my memory is goes that and finally a few alternatives given by him that is very much helpful to all of us. That means for a common people, these alternatives are also a good sign because there is advocacy for policy reform in trips such a prize system, invention for without patents, such a open source drug delivery discovery, and other one I have not memorized at this point, but there are some alternatives he has given. So from his discussion, I think that the common people, how they are facing problems, how they are facing challenges for the medicinal point of view. That means the medicines which were or have been discovering by the persons, that may be the individual KD persons, but that is tending to be the corporate authorship or ownership system. So though patent is registered, this is also the beginning of the exploitation. Though my moderation is not complete yet, Dr. Shobut Chaudhary can explain much better if I am wrong. But I have been more informed. I have been much more beneficial from the lecture relating to the webinar topic. It is very much pertinent. So thank you, Dr.
You have understood clearly,
Shobut. But your discussion is very much clear, so that I am a novice because I am not a background from the science. So, but your discussion has made me to understand the issue. So, thank you to you, and thank you.
If you have any
all
questions, I'll be able to. I'm happy to answer.
Yes. Question and answer sessions will be the later on, because the participants will provide the questions in the chat box on their own. So they will, if there is any question, they can put it, and answer will be provided by you at that time. So thank you. I then do request my another colleague of the Department of Library Science of the Calcutta University. She is also the speaker of this webinar, Dr. Pubalika Bhattacharya Moitro. Please, Pubalika, please you can start your lecture from this moment.
Very good afternoon to everybody. Respected Dr. Sonjit Dash, Professor Biplab Chakraborty, Dr. Shobut Chaudhary, Dr. Abul Salam, Dr. Shathi Ghosh, Dr. Shudeep Banerjee. I am very happy to present my thought and concept over here in this health issue regulatory mechanisms of our state, our central and every other step of life. And this is very pertinently taken as a webinar topic. So I would be giving my little thought in this huge pandemic situation, and it is a very difficult condition for each of us, every one of us, to settle, to arrange our life in this pandemic condition, to understand what we have to do, what should not be done, what we have to teach to our youngsters, how we have to help our elders. So as lease professionals, we have huge lot of responsibilities as we are information providers. So in this condition, I will propose my today's topic. I am sharing my PowerPoint. Can you see my slides?
Yes, it is visible. Carry on.
Is it shared?
Yes, it is visible. Carry on.
Okay, thank you. So my topic is today innovative health issues for the familiarity of common mass. In the pandemic situation, it is a discussion. So in the introduction part, I would like to say that the healthcare infrastructure in the COVID-19 pandemic situation, whatever facilities we have in Indian environment and throughout the other developed countries, we have seen that despite all the feats of achieved modern medicine, we found astonishingly that our health system is not adequate. Whatever health provision we have, health security we have, health guardians we have, health insurances we have, hospitals we have, it is not commensurating with the kind of disease has been spread by COVID-19 as coronavirus in this pandemic situation. So the packaging and the delivery of the services too were not in most of the conditions facing the right wordedness, and it proved its insufficiency, ineffectiveness, and consumer unfriendly conditions. So in this condition, what we found, like the information professionals, knowledge professionals, library and information science professionals, we found that two major criteria are very, very vibrant in this condition. First, that in the Lees family, we clearly understood that the traditional repositories of books, journals, and whatever we have in our repository in the library system, these are completely obsolete, except how we have the maximum number of human lives to save in this pandemic. Nothing came as useful in this condition. This was the first proposition. Second, a job of us, means ours, the library and information science professionals who are trying to educate people in common sectors, in the community information centers, are only appreciated when they can fulfill the need of the common mass at a time of this kind of emergency. This was a huge lot of emergency. Every now and then, every second hour, we are getting one person is in the highest emergency condition, the other person is ailing, somebody else is suffering, some people are infected, someone are going to be tested. Huge lot of difficult situations have been created by this coronavirus in this pandemic situation. Hence, the information professionals and the library professionals who work towards the dissemination of knowledge and information are very, very likely to work beyond their four-wall structure of a library system, and they need to contribute in doing their complete part of services to save the life of the common people. That was the agenda and criteria of this topic. Now we have seen that the technology, as far as considered with the fast information and adapting to the disease condition, the gap between the disease occurrence and people's adaptability feature in science sector, in technology sector, in research sector, in health sector, in public sector of information services, government sectors of delivery of information, and our coping up with our situations to help in this condition came as very, very difficult. So coronavirus occurred in a faster rate, and we, the community people, had to find out the technology, help, and resources, how to get tested, how to get benefited from this. Like this kind of things which have been deduced by the ITs. Like one is the BP monitor sensor, the self-monitoring pulse oximeter, which is now very, very important as the measurement criteria of oxygen. If it is less than 95, then really you are in difficult condition when you are infected. These are the technology helps which we got from the situational development of COVID-19 pandemic situation. So a building line of communication between the patients, healthcare system providers would have done a lot of enforcement of work activity to reduce the errors of omission or commission. In this condition, police and other parallel information professionals could bridge a gap between the two, between the ailing people, between the suffering people, and the health information, whatever we are receiving, we are getting from the government system or private system or whatever. The NGOs are also functioning, the political parties are functioning, the religious organizations are functioning for us, for the community, for the mass people. We have to acknowledge their facilities, and we have to take the facility to the ground level so that the communication is done through simple possible way, so that the people who are suffering can get the things in their need of time. Just like NICED had launched a monitor robot which could perform all the functions of a human body, like in situational level of hospitals, where even the doctors, and as we know that doctors and number of health people could not be survived from this condition because of the comorbidity, they are precondition of other illness. So in these conditions, the monitoring robots could help a lot. So we can see here one picture that the nursing robots, these nursing robots could have been very helpful where the infection loads of the patients were very high. Human body, human health worker and other people could not reach them. These monitors of the robot systems, nursing robots, could do a lot. Then beside that, we had to tell people that to use mask. Use mask, and which type of mask will be perfect for the just not only protection, prevention, and not to let the infection come into your body. So that kind of mask was, it was difficult for the country and any system to provide, because we are a country of 133 crore. So this here is a picture where I can see that the 3-layer system of a mask has been shown, where the outer layer has the water droplet repelling capacity. The middle layer has ionized, positive and negative ionization, for by which we can keep the viruses away from it, viruses and bacteria also away from it. And the third layer is the soft layer by which we can inhale. So these type of masks were actually needed. Earlier, we had suggested that to use N95, where again we saw that N95 mask is again difficult, as because it has got an exhaust system, which exhaust system is been used by the infected person, and that infected person is in front of some normal lives who are not infected. It is very difficult when it is exhausting the part of his oxygen and carbon dioxide exhalation air to the normal people's oxygenation part. So these are the common information required at a right step, right movement, and to right kind of people, that to make them understand how to use, what to use, what not to use, how it should be used. Now you can see the oxygen supplying system of a nurse to a patient, that how to use it. Now the conditions have developed like that. We are not giving seats to the general people in our hospitals, because we are not in the capacity of giving the seat. So what we have to do, we have to keep those infected people at home. Now, if we have to keep them at home environment, now we have to learn how to give oxygen. What will be the percentage? How we can insert the oxygen to the patient's oxygen intake system. So these are very, very common information. But if a single mistake is done in this common process, it is dangerous. Instead of giving less oxygen to the common mass or unknown people, if you are giving more, then it is very difficult and dangerous. So these are the things which needed much more information delivery, dissemination towards the common people, like the IAAC. Indian Institute of Science, who developed an antimicrobial composite material by which you can be protected from this. So all these conditions required as because we have libraries shut. In this condition, none of us, neither the librarians, nor the information seekers, nor the normal users, nor the other extra people, nobody could reach libraries as we are now shut temporarily for COVID conditions. What was left in our hand? So we are left with media, internet, television, radio, newspaper and magazine. On the other side, if we have to go to the library environment, then the web archive and web developed library systems are the only helps. Besides all this, our publishers and librarians, of course, the librarians of the higher capacity system of university and other research institutes, they are constantly collaborating their efforts together to have the service operation, to have the deliveries to our local people in any of the possible way to disseminate the information. Like the libraries, they started to use all the platforms of social media, all the platforms of communication media, so that our people can use Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Instagram, and all the other kind of social media, YouTube, all the versions, so that we can proceed with our, here I have taken an example for Zimmer's cookware reference. So in this way, we could inform our local people, general people, that we have to do this, we have to manage our information for our safety, we have to save ourselves, we have to save our society, we have to save our family. So arrangement of lots of numbers of webinars at different places at different times we could do. The librarians all took the responsibility of establishing webinars through what we can reach to the common people, as these information mediums are there, so that we can reach common people through YouTube and all the other social media platforms. We arranged online classrooms where we can arrange at least our students and other students who can take our information and go to the environment and change their behavioral pattern in this pandemic situation, so that they can help themselves, their community, their people. So in this fashion, we kept on and on helping our people. Like we arranged a number of NGO organizations through the library systems, through the developed NGOs, where network programming were undertaken and local area people were organized, and they were being connected through the internet as well as their mobile phones, so that one kind of network is prepared, and they reached the elderly people. As you can see in the picture, the elderly people are guided by, helped by the young stars. Even in our Calcutta University volunteer organization, we managed a lot of volunteering programs, where our students went to different places, different people, to ask them what they need. Apart from that, newspapers were being purposely sent through the mobile phones, the tabs, and there were volunteers who helped the ladies who were pregnant at home in this COVID situation. Apart from that, lots of practical information guides have been developed, which helped our common people to maintain sanitation and hygiene. And then the Arogya Setu, it helped a lot to our people to understand where are the spots of the COVID-19. I am also agreeing the fact that the Arogya Setu app or the other apps, one or two other apps were also there, which tried to act in this condition, but we cannot say that these all were foolproof, because of the information dissemination, information delivery, information intake, information processing, and then setting in that particular area, particular network in that fashion, and then letting people know and understand that this area is being infected, this area is being quarantined or contained under the containment zones, are being kept in a difficult condition. And really in our community, we saw the sufferings and we saw the death rates. So the helpline and common people's information seem to be very, very important in this kind of COVID-19 coronavirus spread. So the innovations were lot of expectations, which included testing, proper time testing, rapid testing and PCR testing, treatments, vaccines. Vaccines are yet to come. It may take 2 more months, 3 more months, or the government, as my previous speaker, our keynote address been given by Dr. Choudhury. He gave us the good information about patent and the vaccine and the conditions of the market, about what it will be happening after quite a few months after the vaccines are coming. But still, the area where we could help our community is not beyond our helplines. So the policies, whatever be the limits, we had to spread while minimizing the damage to the economics as well as the well-being. So to make informed people was our decision and choice, and to disseminate the information in dealing with this kind of pandemic. So you can see one of the charts which I have been tracing to give you here, that US, Brazil, India, and Russia and UK, the curve of pandemic spread and pandemic conditions from March 1st to July 6th, how it cumulated and confirmed and continued the cases on and on and on. Still in the month of September, we are still not in the lower curve. We have not achieved the plateau condition, and still we are in the diffusion condition. It's still spreading the disease. So we are nowhere to tolerate or test with the condition. We have to inform and work hand in hand to our people who are there. Each one teach one, each one teach many. Any kind of situation, any kind of observation and intake of activity should be appreciated in this kind of panic situation. So apart from that, we can talk about the consumer behavior in the lockdown situation. Because of the lot of misinformation provided by must be our common people, who get panicked at for any reason, for no reason, for their uncertainty index, and the panic buying started. And you can see it in the picture, that how we gathered lots of food, and we never thought in that condition that if we gather this kind of food, it may be very, very drastic for those people who are yet to come to the collection area. So now another thing, we can take the example that the exponential growth of this kind of pandemic situation, and where we are getting so much panicked about everything. If you take 2% of the population which is getting infected, this will be doubling in 8 days. Most people, if they are being figured in 40 days, the majority of population will be infected very fast. So the goal of our is to change people, just to change their behavior, just to change them into a behaved place or behaved condition where they can reduce their own rate of infection. Now the change is to reduce the infection rate dramatically, so that instead of doubling it every 8 days, it goes down in every 8 days. And the reproduction rate, which we call it R0, is used to calculate how many people are getting infected and where are those areas where the infection is getting very fast. So this kind of focus of these people in the information provision was thought in mind and practiced. There were no theory, there were no practical thinking, and there were no theory and practical connotation. There were no use and cause and effect relationship, that I will do this, then this will happen. So what we had to do, we had to try to get people relief from such kind of environment. No other way out was there. So ROEs had to measure, actually, because at any particular condition, the rate of infection is caused by many factors. Because people not only went to the malls, shopping malls, to collect their food, and they mostly went to the green market of shopping places where vegetables were being sold in the normal conditions without any safety measures. And our people, they purchased all these things without a second thought. They only thought that they have to collect food as they have to eat to live. And the number of cases above 1.0, whenever the number of cases is going up, and it appeared to be very high without getting low. Now, what we thought? We thought to find some optimum way to save the community. Three major issues were there which could save our community. That three measures were being taken and been continuously informed to different people, different places, about the use of sanitizer, use of soap water, use of mask, and use of gloves, and maintaining the social distance. As we can see, if we start with 100 infection in a community, just after 40 days, we will be having end up with 17 infections. And in the lower range, if we can maintain the social distancing, and if we are not, then the higher rate will be 3,200 without any second thought in mind. Now, another cause was very, very prevalent in our society as because of the economic loss. But the economic loss at this condition cannot be compared with the life loss conditions. Life loss, as in the economic loss of non-productive months, we suffered by the private and government bodies in this pandemic condition. It left no way to reduce our number of infections, and neither the economy could be sustained. So in this condition, the judgment is to stop the economic loss was been better if there was no life loss. But the life loss was so high that instead of economic loss, we had to keep in the lockdown conditions. So the first priority was to reduce unprecedented rise of infection. And the difficult number of 133 crore people in Indian environment, we had to go. As you can see in this graph, that the stock markets bounced and bounced in these conditions. It fell down and down and down. Price of gold went high and high. Unimaginative price hike was being taken by gold, which is the reserve criteria of a reserve bank system in Indian environment. You can see the size of coronavirus lockdowns in the different countries here in the left side, and in the right side we can see the coronavirus wreaks havoc on the economic growth prospects. India came where we are in the -9 point, but we cannot do anything because we are a huge number of populated country, and this kind of infection cannot be taken anyhow, cannot be taken as the loss of life. So instead of that, economic loss could have been an alternative. So the drop in employment is faster than anything we have ever experienced in our lifetime. Every next person is hearing a loss of job, loss of salary, cut down of salary, cut down of other extra areas where they could have some extra hour of job. They are in the bare minimum service provision. As there is no way out, entire sectors of the economy are facing complete shutdown. it is important to realize that this is not just the result of government policies restricting our activities of economic work front. This is the private body, this is XYZ head and tail, up above the higher ceiling, below the lower ceiling, everybody was being thrown into the threat. When people hear that the infective disease like this is spreading very widely, there is no way out except to change our behavior and change our entire life pattern to live in a condition where we don't get the infection. There was never a choice in this economy in 2019 in the ending months and in 2020. So the important disseminative perspectives were kept in stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 as we understood. Our knowledge of disease helped us to adopt the tools, to adopt the policies. So we have to keep on informing people, to our community, to our people, to our environment, that about the disease and the protective measures. There are some key things which still I have not discussed in this paper. These are the research papers, upcoming research, vaccine and tentative medicine like the hydroxychloroquine and all, because these kind of things are actually beyond our general mass of people, common mass of people. Common mass of people are always required to have common kind of information. A more scientific kind of information is somewhere not a cup of their tea. It is under the decision makers, it is under the scientists, and it is under the policy makers, governing bodies, the government, the intellectual class of people who decided, who dedicated their research and science and development to have newer things. However, we found that till date, we have not got the exact medicine as the vaccines are yet to come. Some studies are being done to answer these questions. ICMR has taken the research and the universities have taken the research responsibilities. The global collaborations are working restlessly on these issues. They are impressive issues. We are getting the information through the newspapers. Whoever are reading the newspaper every day, listening to the news on mobile phones and television screens, they must be getting the COVID-19 clinical trials. But for common people, we have tried that they should get not only the stage 1 information, rather they should get the stage 2 and stage 3 information also. So the common information, common questions were there, that is the disease seasonal or weather dependent? Some people never get symptoms, have enough of the virus to infect others. They are asymptomatic. It is also serious about people who are recovered and they are still having the residual virus and they are infectious. Young people have lower risk. Now, why the people are having the lower risk, that we need to know. We need to tell our community, our people, so that they get better help from the lower range age people for their higher range age people, to help them in their infected conditions. Now the symptoms indicate that you should get tested. Now when you should get tested, the elderly people should be guided and helped by the younger people of the family, of the house, and they should take the seasonal challenge and risk factors so that they can get over the infection part of the pandemic. Now the knowledge of activities entirely, it is very, very important that these young people, again, when they are being enforced to the work front, how they will work. That's why the judgments are always required. Judgment will have to be made at different kinds of gatherings so that people are informed. People know what they are doing. People should know what they should not do. In places where good sanitization can be taken place, and people who are more prone to this disease. Now, what are the common infective conditions, infected conditions? What are the symptoms of coronavirus infection? Like the loss of smell, loss of taste, fever, running nose, throat irritation, cough, phlegm, muscle pain, tiredness, diarrhea, and the difficult breathing. So these were the requirement of our community, our people, our common mass, that we are informing them through different timetable, different conditioning, that they should get informed about the what to do, what not to do. Now, in this solution stage 2 cases where we are infected, in that condition, we have to go to the testing centers. Now, there is one in the screen that is like the pregnancy test. It is a one test with the single droplet of the swab. By the swab insertion, we can get the test. So this kind of information, this kind of testing, this kind of mechanisms are supposed to be made available in our health areas, our block areas, our community areas, our villages, our rural areas. Apart from that, the serology test is also there. Serology test requires blood for the detection of antibodies. It is from who have got infected and they have got cured. So the test positive means you are exposed, and the test show the positive results in the late conditions. Then you are quarantined, and after you are quarantined, after that you get the antibodies, and that antibodies you can supply it after the serology test is being done. Now, the government at central and state level, we can see many projects have been taken here. All I am not discussing, just quite a few I have taken. Online COVID-19 screening tool. One screening tool was being prepared by the patient symptoms checker, and that provides a comprehensive public health advice and directs the patients as to proper self-care and check medication at their attention. This simple algorithm can be shared widely on social media, through the libraries, through the information centers, through the block offices. Now, this is not difficult at all now at this time in the mobile management system. Now, the telehealth consultations. This saves the clinical resources, prevents high number of patients grouped in the waiting rooms, diverts patients with the COVID-19 symptom to public facilities that are equipped to treat them. Plus the pharmaceutical delivery. The patients remaining at home and we are delivering them medicines. Now here you can see we have given one or two pictures by which the online pharmacy and the testing of rapid testing and the swab test, 3 systems are being shown. India government activities were being there. They have kept on trying our pandemic situation to each and every human being to help. But see, help is always there, but you cannot say, you cannot suppose that it will be all the time reaching 100%, neither 90%. It may be below or somewhere where we have some gap, some learning from the difficult zones. So in Indian environment, COVID-19 emergency responses, health system preparedness project aimed to respond all to mitigate from COVID-19 threat, strengthen the national system. But some follies and faults remained there. The key project indicators were there that within the 48 hours, we could help them. We could help, we could reach, we could get onto the online system, the health care management by the state government system to reach each and everybody. But even then there was little bit or the other shortage of health care. The proportion of the population which identified as 3 key symptoms of this influenza type of coronavirus, this needed prevention and care a lot, which may not we have till date could do as a part of our entire responsibility, entire information supply, entire communication, entire helpline. So till date, we are thinking about what are in hand, what are there. We kept on, keep on, and we will be keeping on disseminating the information through our ways. Now you can see a picture where we have collaborated with Bangladesh both the ministers are here handshaking with our policies and systems and theories so that we can help. This is the Noora Health mobilizing a rapid response COVID-19 partnership in India and Bangladesh. That Noora Health could have helped all the people. Here we had the online platform. It was available in the online system. Anybody, anytime could take the help from the system. So what the future aspect of our information dissemination requirement to the common people is that those who have got infected, got cured, they definitely have their plasma to share to the common mass who are now getting infected. These plasma donation could be like something like very much like blood donation. If we come voluntarily towards the plasma donation and we have the enough concentrated immunoglobulin system developed by our state agencies, non-government agencies and private agencies, we can save our people a lot. And actually in Indian environment, we are in much better condition where we are supposed to be. So in conclusion, I can sum up my thought, concept, idea, and perception that in this situation like this, we have never faced in our lifetime. None of us, means to elder to me, who are 30 years, 40 years elder to me, are also unable to visualize this kind of condition and try to face this kind of situation as they have never faced. So with zero delay factor, we need to understand that life is important, and for life, food is important, of course, but not panic collection. So you can see that we need information to disseminate always, that you collect food, but do not be panicked. And above all, above everything, hygiene is required, as because hygiene is the only way to be healthy. So the three are beyond every issue, these 3 points. So as a librarian, and it is our main point thought that as a librarian, unless he or she is saving a life, it is not a complete life of a librarian. In a global threat of a bio-world war, man life is most costly thing. If you live, then you can do a lot of things throughout your lifetime. Life will give you economic freedom. You will be educated. You will be rich. You will be status worthy. And you may have a car also. And you can enjoy every bit of your life and every second of your life. But the life is costly. Life is costly above all, above everything. So that is my proposition, and that is my thought, that if we are librarian, we have to disseminate proper information to proper places and to every individual thing, every individual human being, that they are in right work, they are in right process to save their life, to save themselves from this kind of pandemic. Thank you. Thank you, you all.
Thank you, Dr. Pubalika Bhattacharya Maitro. Thank you for your informative discussion. We are only already beyond the time schedule, so I don't want to discuss on the issue what you discussed in detail. I think participants have been able to understand the views expressed by you. So thank you again. Now I do request Dr. Sudeep Banerjee to present his lecture.
Good afternoon to all. I am honored for getting this invitation to deliver my lecture in this webinar along with such knowledgeable persons like Dr. Sobhuj Kumar Choudhury, Associate Professor of University of Calcutta in Department of LIS, Dr. Pubalika Bhattacharya Maitra. She is also the Assistant Professor of LIS in University of Calcutta, Dr. Shati Ghosh, librarian of Savitri Devi Girls College. I am really thankful to Dr. Sanjit Kumar Das, Vice Principal of Bhairav Ganguly College, my friends and joint conveners, Dr. S.K. Abul Salam and Sri Mintu Haldar, my teacher, respected Dr. Biplab Chakraborty, Professor of LIS in the University of Calcutta and Webinar Director, and other members of InfoLeap Academia for providing us this platform to discuss on connecting the innovation and dissemination of the result on health issues to the common people, ways and challenges. My focus of lecture will mainly be on the scenario of digital initiative and open government data of Government of India and how LIS professionals can take a role by helping their communities and government by taking an important role in this activity. As all we know that in the last decade of the previous century, the world has seen a gradual shift from one eye to another, namely from the industrial-based society to information. Information, its raw form data, and ICT, information communication technology, has a tremendous impact on every sphere of this. It brings plenty of changes in both healthcare and livelihood. Automated healthcare systems like clinic appointment, inpatient services, and management of operation theaters, stores, and laboratory and imaging services are most common in India now. And now, Indian healthcare sector are going to another stage, digital healthcare service. The government of India has started a lot of initiatives in the healthcare sector to take up Digital India program. The primary objective of all these initiatives is to make all medical facilities available all time through web or mobile service. Now, before going to details in the digital initiatives or open government data, I just want to share the present scenario of the healthcare system in India. With reference to the Indian Constitution, health is a state subject. Each state has its own healthcare delivery system in which both public and private sectors operate. State governments are responsible for the functioning of their respective healthcare system, and the central government is responsible mainly for the aspect of policy making, planning, guiding, assisting, evaluating, and coordinating the work of various provincial health authorities and providing funding to implement national programs. The organization at the national level operates under the Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and in each state, the organization is under the State Department of Health and Family. Each regional or zonal setup covers 3 to 5 districts and acts under the authority delegated by the State Directorate of Health Service. The district level structure of health service is a link between the states and regional structure on one side and the peripheral level structure such as primary health care, community health care, sub-center on the other. Now, Abu, you skip. Yes. Now, what are the needs of digital health initiatives in the healthcare of India? We all know that traditionally India has a rural and agricultural sector. Nearly 3/4 of the population still lives in rural areas. Obviously, some changes have come in the economy in the recent years. It raised our average income levels. Rapid urbanization, more entrance of women in the work field was started. It was boosted the purchasing power of the middle class, and it increased the awareness of health issues. But still, nearly 40 crores people in India live on less than 100 Indian rupees per day, and 44% of all children are malnourished, and the infant and women mortality rates are still unacceptably high, despite earnest efforts by the government. In recent years, various governments appointed some expert committees to assess the quality and the availability of the healthcare in India, and all these committees suggested some points. Those are very common to us. That is the severe shortage of doctors. We have to travel long distance for critical care. No transparency or information during treatment. Underfunding. Uncontrolled nature of private sector healthcare system. Poor facilities in the health centers and untrained or ill-trained staff. We all know about that. We are all aware about that. We don't go to very remote corners of our country to take this type of pictures. Just I want to share my home experience. My home, that is Simurali, just 50 kilometers away from the state capital Kolkata, but still there is only one pathological lab. There are no hospital, just a health center. There is no X-ray or imaging services. So in case of emergency, we have to go to Kolani primarily, or again in the Kolkata. And so just it is, I can see the picture of that village that is just near to capital. So what will be the happen in the more rural areas? So in this grim reality, digital healthcare has the potential to transform this sector. Digital health services can help a lot of time. Just you can think that a lot of medical issues can solve after the first, no follow-up is required. So digital health service may help in this regard also. So to take up the digital India initiative ahead, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare have started various e-government initiatives in the healthcare sectors in India. The division is named as the e-health division. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has set up the National Health Portal. A National Health Portal of India describes the benefits of e-health in the form of 10 E's. What are those 10 E's? Efficiency. E-health will increase efficiency by decreasing cost and by avoiding duplicative or unnecessary diagnostic intervention. It will enhance the quality. E-health may enhance the quality of healthcare in two ways. First, by allowing comparisons between different providers, and second, by directing patients to the best service provider. It will be evidence. E-health service will be evidence-based in a sense that their effectiveness and efficiency should not be assumed but proven. Empowerment of consumer and patients will be happening, and it will open new avenues for patient-centered medicine. Encouragement, it will create new relationship between the patient and the health professional. Education, the health professional will be educated through online resources. It will enable information exchange. It will extend. Our health facility, and e-health will enable a consumer to easily obtain health services online from the global provider. E-health will pose ethical issues, new ethical issues such as online professional practice, informed consent, privacy, and equity. And obviously, e-health will make the health more equitable to all sectors of our country, to all sectors of people to our country. Now, some digital initiatives. In the recent years, National Health Portal has started a lot of digital initiatives in the healthcare sector. Some of them we are sharing here, not all, but some of them. Diseases A to Z. It is a short, it will a portal to give you the description of all known diseases in alphabetical order. E-Rock. It is an initiative to connect and digitize the workflow of all blood banks throughout the nation. Family planning, portal of family planning related data and health calendar. It will give you the short description of health related day and program. Mera Aspatal. It is a portal to share a patient's experience about the government health setup for its improvement. My Health Record. It is a personal health record management system linked with digital locker, with such other documents like Aadhaar card, PAN cards, anything. You can keep your health record in your digital locker. Digital health services are provided online registration services and telemedicine. Pradhan Mantri Surakshit Matritva Abhiyan. This portal will provide assured comprehension and quality antenatal care free of cost universally to all pregnant women on the 9th of every month. And just few days ago, Government of India started EROL. It is a 24/7 toll-free mental rehabilitation helpline with the objective of early screening, psychological support, distress management, mental well-being, and psychological crisis management. Government started this service just on 7 September of this year, and now it is available in 13 Indian languages, including Hindi, English, and Bengali. And just in the last month, that is in our Independence Day speech, our Honorable Prime Minister announced another new campaign National Digital Health Mission, or NDHM. He said that through this mission, every Indian will get a health ID card. Every time we visit a doctor or a pharmacy, everything will be logged in this card. From the doctor's appointment to the medication, everything will be available in our health profile. And this mission comprises 6 key building blocks, namely Health ID, PG Doctor, Health Facility Registry, Personal Health Records, e-pharmacy, and telemedicine. Now, these are some summaries of our digital health services provided by the Government of India. Now, I want to focus on open government data. We all know about what is the role of data or information in academic sector or in the scientific sector. But data in the government sector is as important as it is in academic or scientific. Government data helps both citizens and government in taking better informed decisions. And now, different governments in different countries are they are designing open government platforms, and the main objective of those platforms is to promote government transparency and citizen engagement on a global scale. It will help to avoid duplication of works and to adopt common standards for data collection and transfer. Open data in the health sector are new resource, but it has great potential in the health sector. Readily available data can help local communities to identify public health problems, to provide community services, and there are a lot of benefits of open government health data. We can discuss these as suggested by Martin and Bedani, that these are more efficient public health operations by removal of internal data storehouse and by reduction in volume of repeated public queries about specific data. Releasing data may improve metadata and other documentation as they are prepared for external audiences, and thus it can data quality, timeliness, and usefulness will improve. Access to data for external researchers will increase scientific research beyond what agencies have the capacity to do in-house. It will also helpful for preliminary analysis, for pilot studies, and for grant applications. Use of data will help to improve healthcare delivery by promoting data-driven improvements and by empowering local communities to take action on public health issues, such as improving the built environment. Data will be reached to a new and varied audience, and they may be able to bring new perspectives and innovative ideas. And all users will access same data, and it will promote government transparency and fairness. Now, I want to share the Open Government Data Platform of India, that is the data.gov.in. It was developed to increase transparency in the functioning of government and also to open avenues for many more innovative uses of government. And it is effective since 21st March 2012. The base OGD platform that is showing here is a joint initiative of the government of India and government of USA based on the National Data Sharing and Accessibility Policy. And it has designed using Drupal instance. Metadata available in the portal is based on Dublin Core metadata. And whatever the data sets or resources, including metadata published on data.gov.in, are licensed under the government open data license India. It allows users to use, adapt, publish, translate, or display and add value for all lawful and commercial and non-commercial purpose, and the citation format is just like that. And as on 15th August 2020, the number of resources available in the portal is 4,07,636, and all these resources are scattered within 8491 catalog, and each and every catalog has one to many data. Now, health data in the portal. At present, 2,36,867 data sets on healthcare are available in Indian OGD platform, and they are scattered to 756 catalogs. If we check the jurisdiction-wise availability of datasets in the healthcare sector, then we will see that 99.98% datasets are from central government. Only 0.02% datasets are from state department. So engagement of or participation of state department is still very low in the government portal. And if we check the catalog percentage, it will give us that the 97% are from central government sector and only 3% from the health state sector. Now, if we check the data sets, who have created those data sets, then it will be found that the Department of Health and Family Welfare have made the more data sets followed by NITI Aayog. And types of catalogs, the detailed analysis of types of catalogs showed that the maximum number of data sets are on health management information system, followed by health and family welfare and 5-year plan. So there are some problems in the digital health. Not I can don't say, make it a problem. There are some drawbacks till now. It is true that governments are uploading data in the OGT platform, but still they are in the early stage. And in case of India, still the state participation is very few. Open government data, we should remember that the open government data should be considered a national service rather than a political agenda. The use of Indian OGT platform are also not showing a great. As on 15th August 2020, the portal has been viewed by only 208 lakh times. And what is the problem? Main problem is that the literacy picture of India is the main barrier of promoting digital healthcare. Almost 25 to 26% of people of India are still illiterate. And while we talk about digital literacy, it has no existence to about 90% people. Government of India in 2014 started a project, Pradhan Mantri Gramin Digital Saksharata Abhiyan, and they had fixed a target of making 3/4 of the rural population digitally literate by March 31st, 2018. Unfortunately, the achievement is only 57 lakhs, that is only 19% of the target. So it is clear that the success of all these activities depend on the discourse of data and its civic usage and community engagement. And alliance professionals can take an important role in this scenario. What they can do, how they can take the participation in the digital initiative, and I will think that public library has the more potential to help in that, because public libraries, they have some salient capability, like they have acted as a trusted community partner for a long time. So they may bring together government, public, and other community actors for the best interest of OGT or open government. Public library can act as a facilitator. They can conduct reference interviews to help visitors identify the right questions and provide the right answer. This skill can project public library among various community spaces to elicit various and diverse aspirations, interests, and needs as they relate to open. And as a community capacity builders, they can take various literacy programs embedded in their service. And public library is always doing this type of activity. So here are some suggestions how public libraries can help their community, how help to their healthcare profession. Central and state government may insist individual libraries to offer some services for providing digital healthcare services. Those libraries can arrange training for citizens. They can organize a series of informational workshops, training sessions to train citizens to understand healthcare OGT resources, to healthcare digital activities. They can help citizens to access healthcare, to access those resources. They can create training materials and make them available online. And obviously, those training materials will be in the local language, just in case of West Bengal, in Bengali, or in other states in other languages. They can help local communities or develop local communities based on local healthcare needs. And there is an important, they have to play an important role to help healthcare professionals also. Because the use of open government data portal, designing of digital documents, learning materials is also a new job to healthcare professionals. But availability and accessibility to relevant and up-to-date and timely information will play a very important role in enhancing the quality of their service. Alliance professionals can help them to design e-learning materials, datasets on healthcare, upload them in the online portal. They can help them in the local healthcare surveys, or they can help them to identify healthcare resources from multidisciplinary sources which are available online. Okay. So before concluding, I want to say that despite a long history of public engagement, libraries are currently facing some existential crises. New services and activities are required for our success. In India, open government data is still emerging and most citizens are unaware about it. On the other side, digital healthcare is always an emergency service, but in India, it don't seem to be equally visible in each part of our country. So it has an urgent need to digitally literate people about digital healthcare. Alliance professionals can take the responsibility of promoting these services. For this, we have to prepare ourselves by pursuing opportunities with OGD as a possible gateway to collaborative research, by seeking out opportunities to expand our skills to continuing education, by initiating collaboration with medical professionals as necessary, and most importantly, by being aware of all aspects of open government data and obviously the digital initiatives of healthcare. Here are the list of resources I used. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Sudip Banerjee. Thank you. It's very nicely presented within time. Healthcare system in India in the present situation and the digital initiatives on healthcare in India. So there are so many issues relating to the e-benefits or the benefits of e-health issues you have discussed, and at the last side you have already mentioned the role of public libraries as a community partner or facilitator to help citizens and to help the community healthcare professionals at the same time, and a number of issues also you have raised. I am not going to discuss in detail. Thank you, Dr. Sudip, for your informative discussion. So now I do request on next and last speaker, Dr. Shati Ghosh, to deliver her lecture. Please, Dr. Shati Ghosh.
Good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Please carry on and share your video also.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, sir. I am grateful to my teacher, Dr. Biplab Chakraborty, as well as the principal of Bhoirav Ganguly College, Dr. Sanjit Kumar Das, to give me the opportunity to share my views on this topic. I have also special thanks to the entire team of Info Library Academia and welcome all of the participants. Now I am share my screen. My topic is connecting communities, providing health information. Everybody wants to live in a healthy life in this world. However, health information provision is unequal across communities. According to the World Health Organization, health information provision is unequal across communities. Health information provision is unequal across communities.
Dr. Abul Salam, please see.
In this respect, the role of information professionals are very much important as they can generate proper awareness as well as provide right information to the right person at the right time. Now, what are the challenges before COVID situation? There are mainly mitigating burden of disease like infectious disease, TB, HIV/AIDS, or the chronic disease like anemia, maternal mortality and the malnutrition, healthcare finance. We all know that in India, overall public health spending is very low at just around 1% of the total GDP. And in the year 2017, National Health Policy commits to increase the public spending on health to 2.5% of the total GDP by 2025. In this year, May 12, that is 2020, the Ministry of Finance announced an increase in the allocation for public spending on health by extra 0.8% of the country's total GDP. There is another financial problem in the healthcare system, that is healthcare insurance. Expensive health insurance in India is another problem for the entire population. Now, lack of universal access to the healthcare. Health services are not easily accessible to the rural areas. Out of the 1.38 billion people, about 70% live in the rural areas without adequate health infrastructure. Most of the doctors and nurses are reluctant to work in the rural areas primarily due to the reason that rural area does not provide them proper living standard, learning opportunities, career growth, etc. Now, what is the challenge after the outbreak of COVID-19? The situation has already changed. The main challenge are the shortage of medical supplies and the difficulties in the stopping its spread. Next important factor is the acute shortage of doctors and other healthcare professionals. Major shortage in the availability of beds in the hospital, and another problem is shortage of personal protective equipment kit, that is PPE kit. We all know the ICT infrastructure for health sector in India. Basically, the Biomedical Information Division of National Informatics Center provide the medical database like MedInt, OpenMed, etc. Implication of ICT in health sector with respect to the e-health, telemedicine, and health information management system through various channels. National Health Information provides various portals on health information, and it serves the doctor, nurses, technicians, medical students, health service providers, policymakers, and others. Now, obvious question that arises, what is the role of librarian in this aspect? Role of the librarians. AIM Health or AIM Libraries. It can be considered as a tool for enhancing a healthcare information open for all as well as empower a patient for self-care and monitoring. For a developing country like India, AIM Health provides access to patients across the country, including the rural patient also, who are located in the rural areas. and have no access any kind of health service facilities. In India, 71% of the population have access to the mobile phone. Survey suggests that the growth of accessing mobile phones are not only confined with the basic mobile handset, but it also that smartphone use. Now, survey also suggests that there are mobile phones are more using rather than computer uses. However, the adoption of smartphone in the rural area and the understanding capacity of that health information is a big question. In that case, information professionals may create a bridge between the health information provider and with the health information seeker. Now, Web 2.0. Web 2.0 and its application in the specific field like library, health, and medicine have given birth to the new term Medicine 2.0, Health 2.0, and Library 2.0. After the advent of second generation web, interactive and freely available open software are available on the internet, like health blogs, wikis, social networking, etc. Through blog software such as WordPress, social networking through Facebook, MySpace, and connecting the community and create awareness among themselves. Users can create an account with the library network, see what the other user recommended about the health resource and the health related activities. Other Web 2.0 technologies such as tagging, RSS feeds, and mashup might intimate changes in this field and provide access to their collection and user report. Library 2.0 also helps to make best decision and provide latest and helpful information in the health sector field. Now, what is open archive repositories? In the COVID situation, it is not absolutely required to deliver services to the user directly from the library space, but it is essential to make the right information easily available to the right person at the right time. Providing support to the telehealth and telemedicine. With rising healthcare cost and new insurance standard, healthcare has been out of reach for many of them. Now, telemedicine is making a bigger splash in the pool of healthcare options. Now, in the recent days, connecting India with various health apps. Arogya Setu, apart from the warning user if they came to the proximity of someone who has tested positive for COVID-19 and providing tips to the preventive measure, the Arogya Setu app developed by the Government of India connects the people with the essential health service and the information available in the local area and providing whether he or she has COVID-19 like symptoms, and based on that can be find out about the nearest health facilities. The mobile app has also been downloaded. Now, COVID-19 feedback. This app has been developed by the Indian Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. The COVID-19 feedback app has been designed to act like a survey tool to gather information from the user about any treatment or test they have undergone in the recent past. Through this data, the government is working on identifying the worst affected areas and enhancing the testing facilities. After downloading this app, a user has to provide his or her basic details such as name, address, and place of work, followed by details about the recent medical history. This app asks for the permission to access the phone media and has a separate section for feedback to improve the performance or the experience. MyGov app. This Government of India app has designed to act as a citizen engagement the platform for the direct citizen participation in governance. Though through this app, the citizen could share their ideas, comments, and creative suggestions with the central ministries and associated organizations. In the wake up of the COVID-19 outbreak, the government has introduced a new section on the MyGov app. Now, the recommendation for way forward. That is library websites, new library websites, and connecting with the users. A library web page serves as a promotional tool for advertising and in-house library services as well as electronic information resources, electronic information resources. On the web, the pages should be include an email linked to the library, making it easy contact with the librarian and with the other library staffs. Next, newsletter leaflets. Newsletter leaflets are both means of delivering health information on a specific topic before COVID situation. But most of the cases, leaflet can be handed out or displayed on the notice board, which is not a rational process in this situation. But the important poster, banners on health information may be displayed at the prominent location as they offer good visual communication. The language should be simple and should hold the interest of the user. Now, the news group. Libraries can be used news group or discussion group to build awareness among their clientele. The recovered patient may share their views and other person may want to know their queries. To get feedback, comments and suggestions can be invited from the visitors also. Networking among the different libraries. In today's context, it is possible to use technology to bring together the resources in the small individual libraries into one seamless large library. And the main thing is the proactive role of librarian. Now, in my conclusion, it is such that healthcare sector is one of the fastest growing sector in India. In India, as India is a developing nation, the per capita income has increased sustainably, but health awareness is not up to the mark. There is acute lack of awareness and knowledge among the vulnerable section of the community about the health scheme and the programs intended for them. This further amplified by the lack of access to information by the community due to diverse literacy level and the digital divide on information. Now, effective communication become an important role for the awareness generation and mobilizing the community in all the sectors of the economy. The innovative communication strategies through various information centers may reach to the larger community and generate greater health awareness among them. We use some references. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Ghosh, Dr. Sati Ghosh. Thank you for your lecture on the issues, the different issues, how to connect the Indian people through different measures, and the last you have recommended some ways for way forward. Thank you to you. I don't want to discuss in detail because the question answer session is now. I have seen that only two questions at present are in front of you. One question is to Dr. Pubalika Bhattacharya Moitro by a participant that what measures should be taken to improve the health status of the common people during pandemic? One question to Pubalika Bhattacharya Moitro and another question to Sudip Banerjee, Dr. Sudip Banerjee. So the first question is what measures should be taken to improve the health status of the common people during pandemic?
Who will answer first? Sudip, let Sudip speak, then I'll speak.
So,
Okay,
sir,
Sudip.
this is my question.
This question is to you, Dr. Moitro.
To me. Okay. In this
Yeah.
situation, what we have observed that for every common mass, every common people, we have to connect them, and we have to take the health measures in 2 to 3 basic ways. First is to teach them how to not get infected. Secondly, what food and what medicine which is required should be taken. And third is, if you are infected, then at that time, what is the right measure we have to do, how we have to reach to the hospitals, or we have to inform local doctor. If we are getting the local doctors, it's fine. If we are not getting the local doctors at that particular time, then we have to inform the immediate next step, immediate next help, like it could be the local area, the club, the health workers, the volunteers, and the other paramedical help people. And we had already developed a system in the local areas also from our local government, that to connect the local people when you are infected. So these are the basic 3 things. Food is important, proper food. Empty stomach is very tentative to get infection. So you cannot leave empty stomach. You have to have food, at least bare minimum protein, vitamin, and mineral food. And if it is not, so that government has supplied to different regions of different people, irrespective of their any discrimination, that how to have enough nutritious food, and then the minimum required vitamins and minerals, proper need of water, sleep. And then, even then, if you are infected, at that condition you have to go to the local people. And here again we have 2 questions, whether we are going to the hospital or not. Lately we have arranged many people at their home based system, so that they are properly taken care under home system and properly cared by the help people means help people. They came to help these people. So these are the basic ways now in the pandemic situation to be healthy and to live.
The next question to Dr. Sudip Banerjee from Pradeep Kumar. From Ashish Karan, that how common people will be benefited from digitized datasets and digital health during COVID-19.
I want to say that it is now presumed that COVID-19 pandemic is likely to continue for at least 1 to 2 years more, and we have to plan accordingly. So it does not mean that COVID-19 will end just in the next month or day. So life will be going. There are so more medical problems and so more health issues in the during the COVID-19 pandemic, and I think that the more digitized documents will be required more in this pandemic situation, where we are not able to go public, or we are not able to go to the health sectors as and when required. So if we take the facilities of digital health services, the common people, if they take the facilities, and if somehow someone guide them to take the facilities, that will be helpful for them in the pandemic. And
Another question to Dr. Sudeep Banerjee from Pradeep Kumar Bhattacharya, that what is the present scenario of the services of the public libraries of West Bengal with special reference to health issues in the pandemic period?
Actually, sir, my presentation is not on public libraries. My presentation is on health-related digitized issues and how LIS professionals can take their role to provide digitized information to the common people. So I don't think this question is too much related with this webinar. But at the pandemic situation, when I think most of the public libraries are closed, so it is not possible to provide them any facilities during the pandemic. And
Okay.
in the near future,
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Your answer is
Okay, sir.
my next question to Sati Ghosh, the marginal people who have no digital device or who don't understand Web 2.0, how will they be benefited regarding health issues in the pandemic period?
I would say that there is a main problem in the literacy rate and digital device is there. So the main problem is that they cannot understand what the health information are providing for them by the government of India. The role of public library in this case, and to some extent medical libraries and to some special libraries, also provide some banner posters in some local areas or some rural areas in their basic local language, with the help of basic local language signs, symbols, to attract themselves and aware about the fact.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sati Ghosh. I think the question answer, last questions, a number of questions are coming, but one question I can take from Ashish Koran: will health information rather HI system can change current expectations for privacy, confidentiality, individuals' vocational activities, and strategic planning for government intervention during COVID? Anybody of you can give the answer. Actually, this is a general question.
Can we see the question again, please? There are so many things: privacy, confidentiality, individuals' vocational activities. If we take one at a time, it will be nice. And I think there is 10 minutes left, sir. So
within 2 or 3 minutes, you can.
I expect.
Can I tell something?
Yes. So carry on.
This health information systems is very much connected with because the many apps have been developed by the government of India as well as the many organizations internationally as well as nationally, and still are being coming up. So what is important thing is privacy. We have to understand what is the basic understanding of the privacy and the secrecy. Secrecy means your data secrecy. Data secrecy means your personal data, because in the very recently, recent bill has come up in the European arena, GDPR, general data, personal data, obviously, sir, general data required bills. And as we are, whatever we are sharing in any kind of apps, we are entering our personal data, our age, our gender, our locality, our health situations, and everything. The apps maker, the admin, and the app site, they must be very much aware whether this data is kept in a very secure repository or not. As a user and end user, we cannot ensure that. Obviously, we can make people aware and we can make people learn about the privacy and the security issues of their data, because what data, first we have to aware and make them learn what data is important to be shared and what data not to be shared with anyone. Because very recently, Government of India has banned many apps, more than I can recall, more than 100 and 150 apps. And why they have why these apps have been actually banned? The reason is very simple. It's a security issue, and that security issue somehow is in conflict with our national security. Very similarly, when we are sharing our personal data in RFO app or any kind of apps, our personal data is being shared with the apps. We do not know, we are not sure whether that data will be kept in a very secure mode or data will be privatized. I mean, our data will be completely secret at the government. We do not know. So there is a lack of information between the between our end user point of view and the admin point of view. So before we think about security and the privacy at the governmental side, we as a information science people, we must aware our citizens. We must aware our common people what to share and what not to share, and what is the basic understanding of the secrecy. On the basic understanding, suppose you are sharing your mobile number because mobile number, but you cannot ensure that your mobile number will not be shared by the admin. So there is a lacuna and communications gap. But we can do one thing, we can teach common man. I mean, to teach them, to make them learn and make them aware. And at our level, at the information science people, making people aware about the privacy and security should be the prime most area, not only the health information system, it is for every aspect. That's my opinion.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sobuj. Now, I think the question and answer session is complete. From the point of view of the of my own, I can say that all speakers in this webinar have discussed their issues on their own perspectives. I think the issues are different from one to another, and a number of areas have been covered in this webinar. So a number of relevant issues relating to the topic of this webinar has been missed in a total perspective, so that I personally on my on the behalf of the organizing committee convey my thanks to all the speakers because of your esteemed and informative discussion lecture provided by you. So thank you all. Thank you, and thank you. I convey my thanks to the participants who raised the questions, who raised the issues on the pertinent area. So and because of the questions raised by the participants, I convey my thanks to them, and the answers provided by the speakers also, I think, very much pertinent. So thanks to all the speakers and the participants, and with this I can keep my mouth shut. So microphone is to be handed over to the convener. So convener, please.
Thank you very much, sir, for your nicely cooperation and direction for this webinar, and you are nicely handled all the situations during the live demonstration of this webinar. Thank you very much. Now this is the time for vote of thanks. We are at the end of this program. So at first, I would like to provide my heartiest thanks to Dr. Biplab Chakraborty sir, a renowned professor, Department of Library and Information Science, University of Calcutta, and he has nicely delivered his different observation on the different topics delivered by the different speakers. Thank you very much, sir. And then I would like to provide my heartiest thanks to Dr. Sanjit Kumar Das, who is the Vice Principal of Bhairav Ganguly College, for his welcome address as well as for his nice collaboration with the InfoLib Academia. We will have others collaboration also in the future, very near future, on different topics also. So thank you very much, Dr. Sanjit Kumar Das sir. And I would like to provide my heartiest thank to Mr. Mintu Halla also, who is my with me, who is the another convener, joint convener with me also. He is a very active person to organize this seminar and providing us the platform for their MOOCs also to download the certificates on different topics and different webinars conducting by us. And then I would like to provide my heartiest thanks to Dr. Sobuj Kumar Choudhury sir, who is the keynote speaker for today's webinar. He nicely delivered his thoughtful speech to enrich us, particularly on the different medicinal approach. He delivered his knowledge and explained how and what is the medicines very much related to which of the symptoms and diagnosis purpose, who can use that on different aspects. So thank you, SKC sir, for your nice, thoughtful deliveration to us. And then I would like to provide my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Puvalika Bhattacharya Mohitro for his night deliveration of this speech on particularly covering our topics online. He's nicely explained the online health services and different testing methods. What is the situation during the COVID and what measures we have to take, what is the precautions we have to take, and what are the government initiatives taken by on different aspects and different areas of the health aspects of the common people to prevent particularly this disease during COVID pandemic. So thank you, Puvalika Bhattacharya madam, for your nice deliberation. And then I would like to provide my heartfelt thank to Dr. Sudeep Banerjee. Dr. Banerjee is nicely covered the health information system, covering the national health portal and the model e-health, the benefit of the e-health, then digital initiatives of the government of India, what are the initiatives taken by the government of India and how we will be benefited from that particular initiatives, what will be the role of the LIS professionals on that particular aspects, and what information sources, how the LIS professionals can maintain the portals, can input the data to the different digital platform. He nicely explained all those topics covering our webinar title. So thank you, Dr. Sudeep Banerjee, for your nice deliberation. And then I would like to provide my heartfelt thank to Dr. Swati Ghosh for your nice explanation on the topics connecting communities for rural health information system. And you also mentioned that what would be the role of the LIS professionals, particularly in this during the COVID period. So thank you very much, Dr. Ghosh. And lastly, I would like to provide my heartfelt thank to the audience and participants for patient listening. And we also would like to provide some information on our future programs also. So we will have the other conveners with us. So I would like to request Dr. Haldar, please provide the information for our future program to the audience, please.
Thank you, Dr. Salam. We are glad to announce that we have already completed 8 webinars. We have been able to make it a success with your active participation. We are going to organize 2 days international webinar on agricultural information services for rural reconstruction, challenges and opportunities, which will be held on 14th and 15th September 2020. This webinar organized between InfoLib Academia and Potuakhali Science and Technology University, Bangladesh. I am requesting all participants to register for our next webinar, and you have successfully participated in past webinar. In that way, you can increase our enthusiasm by participating. Participants are requested to download the certificate from BGC MOOCs. Thank you. Thank you once again. With the permission of the chair, I conclude the session. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Okay.
Please download with the help of this URL. First register there and download your enroll there and download your certificate. So definitely we will have first international collaboration, I think, with Bangladesh Patuakhali Science and Technology University on 14th and 15th. And we will also have a lot of series of webinars at the end of the September. So please be with us. Thank you very much.